There's a very interesting pattern developing here for Litecoin. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. I've put cryptos under money, and here you can see some, of the performance. So this is the distance from the 52-week close for cryptos. You can see that it is outperforming significantly, actually, even precious metals, but not in terms of the 52-week highs. If you go here to cryptos, then you can see that we have, these are the ones that I can get through the this data source, which is the one that you can get through Excel. Okay, let's now look at the website. So this is Litecoin's website. So we are looking at it against the US dollar. Okay, so yeah, your money, Litecoin, is decentralized money free from censorship and open to all. Send low-cost, private, secure, borderless payments to anyone, anytime, anywhere. As far as censorship, the issue is that numerous of the major, cryptocurrency exchanges, they will close accounts if they get, disturbing information about the accounts. And the trick that, totalitarian governments do, or semi-totalitarian governments, is that if they have some political enemy, then they can easily categorize that political enemy in some group which they know is very disliked in, as an example, United States of America. Hence, they could easily just categorize some group that they don't like as, oh yeah, they're neo-Nazis. And so they categorize it as that, and then Coinbase will kick them off the platform. So that's the dicey thing about cryptocurrencies. They are less susceptible to censorship, but it's not, as free as you might think. And it is very easy to manipulate this system, especially for governments. Blockchain secured. The Litecoin blockchain is the largest global script-based network operating with 100% uptime since 2011. That's great. Decentralized finance. There's no approval needed to join the new age of money. Download your free wallet to join and invest in the future of finance. Evolving and immutable. Litecoin development pioneers technologies including Lightning for instant global settlements of funds and atomic swaps for cross-blockchain trustless trading. Let's now look at the first at the seasonality. So you can see that October is actually one of the stronger months, but you can see that the neighboring months here are quite mediocre. Let's look at it against gold, like that. Yeah, we see, this pattern developed that October is strong, but some of the neighboring months are a bit more mediocre. But October is literally the strongest month for Litecoin against gold. So let's now look at the charts. Weekly data points. So this is the data we get here. This is the Litecoin index on investing.com. And something that I find very interesting about Litecoin is the patterns. So of course you have the super euphoric rally here, the total crash, and then you form a rounding bottom. A rounding bottom that became quite profitable even if you were a later entry. So let's say that you entered the rounding bottom like here, from here to there, that's 136%. Of course, if you are almost like nailed the bottom, then you would have, almost 500%. And so rounding bottom historically has worked out. You could even argue that this is a bit of a cup and a bit of a handle. But you always need to have a stop in place. You have to have an entry plan and also the exit plan. Because if you didn't have that, let's say that you bought here, then you have 137% gain here, but you don't have any stop, and all of a sudden you have no gains, and then you are down minus 37%. So always protect your gains, always have an exit plan. Anyway, the point here is that rounding bottoms have worked before. Here is, you could make a strong case that this looks like a rounding bottom information, and this is early in a potential rounding bottom. This one is also actually more longer in development than this one. And the psychological phenomena of a rounding bottom is that you have, of course, the dominance here of the bears, and then there's a much more even battle. And as of late, it certainly looks like the bulls are gaining more leverage. And the nice thing about the rounding bottom is that because it develops over time, they become more durable, meaning these, the bulls have been able to eke out gains for months now. Hence, it is more difficult for the bears to trigger, a breakdown. It is fully possible, but it is much more difficult, because if you are a bear and you're looking at this chart, it doesn't really make you super motivated to put on a big bearish position, because you can clearly see that the bulls have been fighting off the bears here for months. That makes it very scary to go short. And when it is scary to go short, then you can quickly get, more buyers than sellers, which really means that the price will go up. So from a speculative standpoint, this looks interesting from a bullish perspective. It just does. As always, if you enter a bullish position here for Litecoin, you should have a stop in place. An exit plan, because it doesn't always work out. If you look at the RSI, let's see if we can see some reliable patterns. It certainly seems like the lower range around here of the RSI, it seems to be like a level where you somewhat consistently, the buyers step in. As far as overbought levels, they have not been reliable as signals to go short. Accumulation distribution is corroborating the development here, so you do actually have a bullish divergence here between price and the accumulation distribution line. That is nice, that's bullish. There's a minus 27% correlation with S&P 500. Here we have the daily data points. Let's load the moving averages. You can see here that we are above some of the key moving averages, and the red 200-day moving average has gone from being a negative resistance level to now becoming a support level. That's constructive. That's very constructive development. Looking at the RSI here to look for some... It certainly seems to be some link here between especially oversold levels and the rallies being triggered. When it comes to overbought, it can be goofing around in overbought levels for quite some time, hence they are not reliable as, at least as of late, it had not been reliable as signals to go short. Looking here at the correlation, there's a 63% positive correlation here with the S&P 500. But it is a positive correlation, but not too strong or too cold. Okay. Hence, to sum up my take here on Litecoin, I am speculatively bullish on cryptocurrency long term. The reason why I say speculative is because cryptocurrencies, they have been around ever since, 2008-ish. They have been around for quite some time, but they have been extremely slow in the process of actually becoming something that is used for transactions. They have been stuck in this get-rich-quick scheme mentality for, many years now. And the problem with that is that if people are buying these to get rich, then that potential price volatility makes them completely useless for commerce. So that's a bit of a tricky situation here for the cryptos, because price volatility makes them very marketable, but it makes them not that usable. So it's a very dicey situation it's a bit of a mess. As I mentioned, there are problems when it comes to the whole issue of censorship, because I have actually a background in political science, and there's been multiple, semi-authoritarian countries that have gotten some of their political competitors kicked off platforms like Coinbase by manufacturing complaints. It's so easy for them to just categorize the movements they don't like as, oh, it's this group that you also don't like. But when you actually analyze it, you see that it was very much manufactured and it was bogus. And that's an issue. Because political freedom, especially when it comes to, authoritarian and semi-authoritarian regimes, that would be like the great potential benefits of the cryptocurrencies, but it hasn't really manifested itself. Whatever you do, of course, don't fight the trend, and may the trend be with you.